Today we're going to talk about tenses of Latin verbs. In Latin, there are a total of 6 different tenses. These 6 tenses are broken down as follows. There are 3 tenses that take place in the past, 1 tense that takes place at the same time of whatever is being discussed, that's the present tense, and 2 tenses that take place at some point in the future. If we were to consider how to organize these tenses, a timeline can be very helpful. If we consider this time here in the middle to be the present tense, or the time at which something that we are discussing is taking place, things that happen back here happen in the past. Things that happen here happen in the future. If we talk about something that is going on at the current time or something that we are doing, of course we are talking about the present tense. The present tense implies that there is an action that is taking place at the present time. We do not know when that action necessarily started or when that action is completed. We assume that it is ongoing, it is happening at the current time. We have things that happened in the past. Latin uses a particular word to describe past completed actions, and that word is perfect. If we look at the etymology of the word perfect, we can see that it's in 2 parts. Fect comes from facere, to make or do. Per, as a prefix, typically means thoroughly. Something that is thoroughly done is something that is completed. So an action that has been completed in the past, a time before the present, in Latin we use the term perfect to describe that tense. What does this perfect tense look like in terms of our timeline? Very simple. We see an action that was begun at some point in the past, may have continued for some time, but has reached a definite stopping point. It is complete. This is perfect. Latin also has another tense that is the imperfect. If it is imperfect, that means it is not thoroughly complete. This describes action that is ongoing or continuous over a period of time. It may still be going on, we don't know. The way that we would look at the imperfect on our timeline would be that it has a starting point somewhere in the past, and it could possibly be continuing even now. This is the imperfect tense, not thoroughly complete. Finally, in terms of past tenses, we have something that is more than thoroughly complete, or more than perfect, meaning it is done before something that is done in the perfect time frame. This tense is called the pluperfect, and where the pluperfect would look is that would be done before an action completed in the perfect time frame would be done. So this would be pluperfect. We're almost done, only 2 more tenses to go. We have future tense. This is something that takes place in the future. Where would we see this future tense? We would see that out here, ongoing into the future. And the final tense that we have is called the future perfect. something that will be completed at some point in the future. English does not have a tense that's equivalent to this. It's another reason why Latin has a degree of specificity that English does not. The future perfect looks something like this on our timeline. The action may not have begun in the future, it may have begun even in the recent past, but it will be complete at some point in the future. If we look at our timeline again, with all our 6 tenses displayed on there, let's talk about some verbal examples that we can come up with. First of all, let's talk about the present tense. Present tense implies that the action is taking place right now. So if I were to say, Nick is washing his car, we know that he is currently engaged in the action of washing his car. Other ways that we could say the same thing would be that Nick washes his car or Nick does wash his car. All three mean the same things. If we look at the imperfect tense, something that is not thoroughly done, not completed, we would say Nick was washing his car. And he may still be washing his car, we don't know. Again, the action is ongoing and not completed in terms of this example. Other ways that the Latin imperfect tense can be translated would be Nick kept on washing his car. Again, continuous action. Or Nick used to wash his car. Continuous action, customary, and repeated. Looking at the perfect tense, or the thoroughly done tense, Nick washed his car. He is not washing his car now, he finished that. He is done. Other ways that you can use English to translate that tense are Nick did wash his car, or Nick has washed his car. Again, sometimes in terms of questions and more complicated clauses, you may use one of those alternative English translation forms. But basically the meaning is the same. The action of washing is over. When we consider the pluperfect tense, or the more than thoroughly completed or done earlier, we would use in English, Nick had washed his car. Meaning that before some point in the past, Nick had completed the action of washing his car. The action is complete, and it's more than in the simple past. He had washed the car. Then what might have happened? Perhaps it rained. It rained is perfect. That's in the past. Since he had washed his car earlier, we would use Nick had washed his car. The future is pretty simple. Nick will wash his car. We don't know when he'll be finished, but we know that he'll start this action at some point in the future. Finally, we have the future perfect tense. This means that the action will be complete at some point in the future. In English, we say, Nick will have washed his car. We don't know exactly when he will start washing it, but we know that at some point in the future, he will have completed washing his car. We would say, by tomorrow, Nick will have washed his car. By September, Nick will have washed his car. Those are the 6 Latin tenses, 3 in the past, imperfect, perfect, and pluperfect, 1 in the present, and 2 in the future.